Lieutenant, what are you going to do now? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was the voice coming down at me from the top of an M1 Abrams battle tank. Welcome to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was 22 years old, freshly commissioned, a brass lieutenant's bar on my collar, and absolutely no idea what I was in for. I show up in full gear, polished boots, and the kind of swagger that only comes from someone who just graduated and hasn't yet been humbled by reality. And on top of the M1, a staff sergeant, Vietnam vet, grizzled, loud, absolutely not impressed by my resume. And then he hits me with it. What are you going to do now, Lieutenant? Do I go left? Do I turn right? But no decision was not an option, and that was the lesson. No decision, that gets you overrun. No decision, that can kill your business. It's not about making one perfect move, it's about making a move. And years later, I'm not inside a tank, I'm in a boardroom. I've just flown to Chicago to meet with our new private equity sponsors. And guess what? Where's the census? What's the status on that project? Where's the revenue growth? They are firing questions at me like live rounds. And suddenly, I hear it again. What are you going to do now, Lieutenant? Indecision doesn't just stall momentum. It erodes trust. And that's what today is about. Indecision is still a decision. And most of the time, it's the most dangerous one you can make. Whether you're in a tank or a boardroom or working from home, that countdown is real. And if you don't move, someone else will. A competitor, a disruptor, the market itself. The staff sergeant barking at us wasn't looking for a simple bilateral decision. The decisions that we make, what blocks us? It's the status quo. What's the cost of status quo? According to the McKinsey report, why do most transformations fail? 70% of transformation initiatives fail, not because the ideas were bad, but because execution was blocked by internal resistance. Do you know that status quo, it wears name tags, right? It wears name tags like best practices. It dresses up as you've always done it that way, and it's wrapped in the warm and fuzzy illusion of predictability. The staff sergeant barking at us wasn't looking for that simple bilateral decision. A simple yes or no, a win or lose. The decisions we make can include another option, another point on that continuum that keeps us innovating, that keeps us moving forward. That one additional point in our decision creates a pivot. You're still moving forward, but at a new angle. For our company, I needed to create a pivot, a move forward. And for my pivot, we were stuck behind this, the yellow pages. Now, how many of you have been to the Telephone Museum in Ellsworth, Maine? Raise your hand. Let me see. I can't be the only one. Okay, I think I see one. The Telephone Museum, it is a wonderful, small, yet analog museum in a beautiful part of Maine. This is a picture of my wife and 2 sons on a recent visit. Do you know what else is at the Telephone Museum? The yellow pages. The yellow pages were how we used to find information, alphabetically organized in printed directories. So if you wanted to find a shoe store, you would flip to the S's and you would look down the list. Bob's Shoes, Ocala Discount Footwear, West Family Shoe Emporium. And for our company, if you were looking for treatment, you turn to that section, and can you believe it? Companies change their names to appear higher in the directory. AA, 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 AAAA, A, rehab. And for our company, A, Aardvark Abuse Addiction Agency. What was once a viable marketing strategy was now status quo, the way things were always done. As I looked at our inherited budget, my status quo, I was shocked. Right there on that spreadsheet, nice and tidy, $1 million that we were spending on the yellow pages. The world had changed. It wasn't 1975 anymore, and consumer behavior had already left this model behind. As I set up call tracking, the numbers painted a brutally honest picture. Only about 10% of our leads were coming from the yellow pages. For our company, I needed to pivot to create a new path forward. But how do you fight the status quo? I fought the status quo by applying military strategies to marketing. No, this is not me in 2008. This is me in 2008. This is what a chief information officer used to look like. This is Karl von Clausewitz, a Prussian general, a contemporary of Napoleon. I studied his writings in armor school. Von Clausewitz theorized that a military strength could be multiplied by combining arms, and that increase in force is exponential. I applied this strategy to explain my pivot, our new path forward. In ancient societies, mass dictated the outcome of many battles. Single soldiers doing battle till one fell and was replaced by another. Von Clausewitz introduced multiple weapons, speed, and movement as force multipliers. I used this strategy to explain our move forward. And guess what? That knocked down the gates of the status quo. All of a sudden, our blog post articles, well, they became podcast episodes, and then YouTube videos, and then social media posts, material for human resources and recruiting, content for business development, and on and on and on. That one blog post article now force multiplied. The yellow pages was the equivalent to the concept of mass. Digital marketing was our force multiplier. Now, this is not a marketing trick. This was military strategy applied to marketing. Our board and our C-suite, who used to say, why are we putting videos on YouTube? And why do we have to keep updating our websites? They now started calling and saying, could we get some more of that? And can we get it faster? For decades, mass was the goal. Website impressions, user clicks, friends, likes, shares, and subscribers. Mass, 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 mass. The status quo could be what you're doing today. And in the face of AI, those that make decisions, those that pivot, will win. So when you hear that countdown start, determine today that in the face of adversity, you will never be outmatched. Audience, what are you going to do now? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now you're dismissed.